Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper. Today I'll be reviewing Pokémon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which was released back in November of 2017. Now, this is a remake of the original Pokémon Sun and Moon, and this is basically you going on an adventure around the Alola region and basically fighting trainers or the team of this region, battling them. Battling with your rivals, collecting Pokemon, filling up the Pokédex, and meeting the legendary of, depending on which game you've got, of the box art legendary. And this is basically a remake, as I said before, and it basically does add some stuff to the game. For instance, there's some new characters, some new Pokemon, and like a new story element to the game. So one of the new characters, well, two of the new characters are basically these research future tech people who have this Pokemon called Pile. I think I'm not 100% sure of the name, but it's going to be on screen, and they basically follow you, and they have I think knowledge about Ultra Beasts, I think, which are basically, I think, Pokemon from another dimension or something. And then you have to fight the team of the region, which I forgot what they were called because I haven't played the original Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun in a long time. And yeah, this basically follows the same story as the original Sun and Moon. And I think it's nice, I think it's enjoyable. Again, like in the original Sun and Moon, I think there's a lot of hand-holding in this game, because this basically puts you to, like, tells you where to go from this place to one place to another place. And I know that it's like, like in the other games, you go to the next town, you go to the next gym, but with the other games, I feel like you could do a little bit more, like you could do other stuff. But with Sun and Moon and Ultra Moon, Sun and Ultra Moon in particular, I feel like it would have been better if we had a bit more exploration type thing, kind of like how Sword and Shield did it in terms of their exploration, in terms of, like, you've got a region and you've got an area in that particular region in which you can explore and catch Pokemon, whereas with, like, previous games like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, X and Y, Black and White, Red and Blue, it's basically more fixed areas where you can find Pokemon. And it would have been better if, like, this game had, like, a bit more exploration to it. Some of the new Pokemon in this game, as I said before, the Pokemon that was with the Ultra Beast Researcher guides is one of the new ones. And another new one is Dusk Form Lycanroc, which is basically this form of Lycanroc, which is basically a third form of Rockruff. And you can only get this Lycanroc, I think a specific time. I think around 5 PM, I think. And this was actually an event Pokemon in which, at the time, I think around about when Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon were released, if you entered a specific code or something, you would get an event Rockruff that, if you evolved it at 5 PM, you would get a Dusk Form Lycanroc. And the form of this Lycanroc is interesting. It's kind of like, I think, got some concepts of both nighttime Lycanroc and midday Lycanroc, because I think it's got, like, the body of the midday form, and I think the fur of the dusk form or the nighttime form. And this one is very interesting, and I think it's really cool. And yeah, and now I'm going to show you some gameplay. So the graphics are basically the same as in the original Sun and Moon, and basically if you want to find Pokemon, you basically go into the wild just like in every other Pokemon game. And I think like what makes this game interesting over the other games is the use of Z moves. So a Z move is basically something in which it's basically a powered up move. So you get basically different things called Z crystals, and they're based on different the different types, so grass, fire, electric, ground, that sort of thing. And the one I have on Decidueye is the grass one, and this move is called the Bloom Boom, I think, or Bloom Doom. I can't exactly remember. I think it said Bloom Doom. And basically, what each Z move does is basically, it's Bloom Doom, so I was right. So it's basically a very powerful move, and they can be used with it in any part of the battle that you're in. And I think they're quite interesting because like each move is quite different, and you've also got Pokemon specific ones, in which you've got some ones I think yeah. So you've got, so let's say the oh no, hang on. So what I'm trying to say is basically there are ones in which that specific Pokemon can have. So this one is for Lycanroc. This one is for Snorlax, that sort of thing. And yeah, but depending on the ones you have, they can't be used until a Pokemon has a specific mood. Oh, not mood, a specific move. And also returning to this game, like in the original, are Ride Pokemon. So Ride Pokemon are basically HMs. So like Surf, Strength, Waterfall, that sort of thing. And one of my favourite ones has to be Taurus, just because it just goes across areas really fast, and I do like that. And also, one of the collectibles in this game, if we can get to it, are stickers. So it's basically this yellow shining thing on this fence here, and that's basically depending on how many you have, you'll get different totem Pokemon. So I think if you depending on which version you have, if you're playing Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, you'll get different totem Pokemon. So I think one version you get that fish Pokemon that can turn into a giant fish, and I think in the other version you get one of the versions you get like a fish, a turn one of the fish that can turn bigger, and then I think in this version you get like this giant spider thing, Pokemon totem thing, yeah. So yeah, and you'll get notifications from the Rotom Dex, depending on how many you have. And yeah, and apart from that, I think this is like an interesting. I think this is like, it's in terms of battle, in terms of like style of gameplay, I think it's a nice, interesting sort of game. And also, the Rotom Dex will scan Pokemon that it hasn't seen before. So let's say you're starting the game and you've just gotten the Rotom Dex, and let's say you run into a Pikipek and you haven't caught it or anything, and then the Rotom Dex will scan in and say, "Oh, I haven't seen this kind of Pokemon before." And also like about the battles, if you're running a Pokemon like Taurus, you'll have the ride gear on. So that's been it for the gameplay. Now it's time to go back to the review. So one of the new story elements in this game is that Team Rocket has taken over the plaza area, I think, or is taken over, I think, some part of, or one area of the game. I think it's a plaza, and it's up to basically you to defeat not only Giovanni, but all of the other team leader guys, like the guy from Team Flare, the guys from Team Aqua and Team Magma, Giovanni, the guy from Team Plasma, and yeah, and I think that's a really cool and interesting story because we haven't really seen all of the team leader guys in one game, because we've only seen some of the team leaders in one specific game, whether it's Team Galactic in one game and then Team Plasma in another game. The only exception to that would be in Ruby and Sapphire, where you had Team Magma and Team Aqua, and depending on which game you played, you would go against one of them and you would see bits of the other team. And yeah, and also there's this area in, I think, towards the end of the game where you can go through this wormhole area, and depending on which game you have, you ride on one of the box art legendaries. So it's either the Bats one or the Lion one. I think it's like Solario and Luna. I can't exactly remember the names of the legendaries of this game. Because again, I haven't played this game in a while, or in a long time. But this wormhole thing is basically a sort of a mini game in sense, in which you go through this wormhole tunnel thing, and the further you go, you'll find better Pokemon. And I think if you go into a specific one, and after going in for a few minutes, you'll find a different legendary Pokemon. So whether it's Groudon, Lugia, Mewtwo, Yveltal, Xerneas, you'll find different legendaries. And I think that's a really cool thing, because it kind of reminds me of the Aurus games, in which you could find and catch Pokemon, or the legendary Pokemon, on different islands depending on which game you played. So if you're playing in, let's say, Aurus, in let's say Alpha Sapphire, you could find, let's say, one of the, let's say you could find one of the Pokemon, let's say Reshiram, let's say. You found Reshiram in Alpha Sapphire, then in Omega Ruby you could find Zekrom. And I feel like, and again, it's like that in Ultra Sun and Moon, because depending on which version you have, you'll find different legendaries. So you might find Zekrom in Ultra Sun, but Reshiram in Ultra Moon. I think that's really cool. So overall, I think that this game is a nice sort of game. I think it would have been better if there was more, if there was less hand-holding and a bit more exploration to this game. But I think this is a nice remake. But it would have been better if, like, there was, if Game Freak could have taken some bits away and just polished it out a bit more. And I feel like this would have been a better remake. But yeah, I think it's still enjoyable. So that's been my review for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.